Hey everybody, it's Luther Wilson III on another YouTube video. Today's Monday, November 4th, 2024. Appreciate you tuning in. If you're here, then it probably means that you're involved in real estate or you're interested in real estate of some type. And as some of you know, I'm a real estate agent, real estate investor, former property manager here in the Kansas City market. Upside Property Services is my brokerage. I'm licensed in Kansas and Missouri, okay? And in today's session, I want to talk about working with real estate investors, tips for real estate agents in particular, okay? So if you've seen some of my previous videos and maybe you've seen some of my stuff on social media, you know I talk about real estate investing, and I have talked about how some of my story coming up in the business and how my heart goes out to the real estate practitioners out there. So if you are a real estate agent or a realtor, or you might be a deal finder or a deal maker, you are working with investors and you probably have invested on your own or with partners or with clients, or however that looks, but you want to continue investing and you're trying to figure out how you can make that happen. And so want to continue to share more of my story, because what has helped me a lot as a entrepreneur, as a real estate investor, was helping other investors along the way, okay? And so some key things to think about: it's a relationship business. That's huge. And so if you are working with investors, and whether they're buying or selling, getting to know them getting to know you is huge, okay? That's one of the first things that I wanted to mention. And then also beyond that is what's happening in your market. So wherever you work and operate, wherever you practice real estate, being in tune with what's happening in that market helps a lot too. So as you're building relationships, with your customers, with your clients, we have continuing education, of course, or if you are kind of on your own and you're doing personal development courses and so forth, understanding the data and then being able to educate and assist your clients, all right? And so when we're working with investors, a big thing is on the buy side, right? Lots of investors will seek out a deal finder or a realtor or an agent to help them find product or to help them find a deal or an opportunity, okay? And so you, as the professional, however it's set up, with your relationship with that potential client, as you're building that relationship and staying in tune with what's happening in the market, you gotta, be mindful of how much time that you're investing into whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because investors, for whatever reasons in the real estate community, I see it, or I have seen it quite a lot with realtors, it's challenging to work with investors, and a lot of us have tended to maybe, turn our nose up at it, or we're very reluctant at times to work with investors. And I think it goes both ways. There's expectations and demands from the investor, and then from the realtor side, there's us being mindful of, what's realistic, and then setting certain boundaries and managing those expectations, all right? And so, I'll tell you what, I want to try to incorporate, and I'll probably end up doing maybe a series or definitely future videos about this topic, is the relationships and working with investors as an agent. And this can apply for wholesalers or people who are finding deals and wanting to assign them to investors as well, okay? And so looking at different opportunities, figuring out what the needs and wants are of your client, and then determining, based on your knowledge, based on the data, what you see on the ground as a practitioner or operator, how much you can help that investor, if you even be able to help that investor. And then you got to decide, is that going to be worthwhile? Because real estate on the sales side for agents, it's tough. Like, I've only worked for one company that paid me hourly, and it was on a part-time basis, and it was for doing property management services, okay? The rest of the time, over the last 10 years that I've been an agent, it's been like, we gotta, hunt and what we want to eat, and we gotta, find the opportunities, and we gotta be able to maneuver through the process. And a lot of times deals don't work out, and so you got to start over again, and then on and on and on. And so knowing what's happening in your market, building the relationship with your client, educating them, letting them know, what you see, and then you got to determine, because it's straight commission and you got to hunt what you want to eat, the time and energy that you put into your business and your clients, it's super valuable. And so today, like, I still work, like, I drive for Uber on a part-time basis. Some weeks it's full-time. So some of the deals, as I mentioned before, don't work out. I might be working with 2 or 3 different investors on the sales side, and that happened just a couple months ago. Had 3 different opportunities, 3 different investors, 3 different properties. I was marketing to sell them. None of them sold. None of them sold. And that was over a 4 or 5 month period. So for those agents and realtors, you may not want to quit your day job. It's great to have multiple sources of income while you're doing this thing. The commissions can be very good. However, depending on how you move, how you operate, there may be some gaps, some periods of time along the way where you may not be closing as many transactions. This is what it is. And so back to the buy side, if you're working with an investor and they reach out to you, or vice versa, and they want to do a deal, right? They want to buy a single family home and they want to rehab it and resell it. That's probably one of the most common things that investors will want to do. And so you have to determine, all right, whatever formula you're using to determine what to buy and how to offer on it, how much you can offer. There's a lot, like, we can get into on that side, but you got to determine, okay, finding that opportunity, what's that going to entail? And then you got to decide, like, okay, if I work with this investor, is there an opportunity to do multiple deals in the future? Is it just going to be one and done? And then, like, because it's like, especially today, we're in fourth quarter 2024. It's been an interesting year. A lot of my investor clients have pulled back over the last couple of years because of market conditions, inflation, interest rates, and so forth. And so, I want to encourage those agents, like, all right, we want to invest. You want to invest. And you can gain lots of experience working with other investors, but you got to determine how that's going to look. Is it going to, because you can assist them not only just with finding the deal, you can help them sell properties that they've already owned or acquired. I got in early on as a leasing agent and a property manager. Okay. Some agents that I know are handy and they can handle some of the make-readies, the construction, general contracting type of thing. And so you got to decide, like, all right, working with investors, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Yes, there's challenges and so forth, but I, have learned so much, and I want to encourage those other practitioners to look into that, because over time, it's really worth it, because as you're doing deals, as you're serving your clients, you're out in the field, you're seeing different opportunities. At a certain point, as you are learning and growing and evolving as a real estate pro, you're gonna want to, at least it happened for me, and I've seen it happen with a number of other realtors who do investing as well, is you get to a certain point where you're like, all right, I want to do more investing on my own. And so however long it takes you. Like, it took me a good 8+ years almost to get to a point where I felt pretty confident enough in my, my ability, my experience, what was going on in the market. I decided, all right, I'm going to put the word out there as I'm continuing to find opportunities, closing transactions and so forth. You may want to start looking, and that's another thing why I encourage investors and real estate practitioners. I did a couple recent videos where I talk about the private equity, the financing, the funding, the different types of mortgages or loans that are available for business owners and real estate investors, because that's going to help you as you are starting to transition more into being an investor. You come across a deal, it's a really good one, and however you found it, like, it probably wasn't that easy to find. You either spent a lot of time or a lot of money, or maybe both, finding that opportunity, and you may not necessarily just want to broker the deal or assign it or to sell it and make a good commission. On a commission, you can make 3 to 5 grand. On an assignment, you might make 5 to 10, 15 grand. And so that is super attractive, right? And you can continue to do that. It's a little more challenging now. That's definitely going to change in the future. It's hard to say how, but at a certain point, getting a good sized commission may not be as attractive as you being able to take down that deal, purchase it, rehab it, resell it if you want, instead of making a commission or assignment of maybe 3 grand to 10 grand, maybe more. You might be able to take it down with an investor that you helped in the past, or a colleague that you met along the way who happens to do funding and financing, or they have their own money that they lend, might be a hard money lender, whatever. You stand a chance to be able to take that property down, because you've helped investors and other people through that process. You're already plugged in with the title company, the GC, the appraiser, the on and on and on. And so you can get through that process probably more efficiently, and you're going to probably put more into it because it's yours at this point, right? So you stand, instead of maybe making 3 grand to 10 grand, maybe more on that opportunity, you figure out the funding, the financing, the JV partnership, the private equity, however it looks. Getting through the process, you could sell the property and make 10, 20 grand, 30 grand, investors making a boatload more on fix and flip. So if that's the route you want to go, great. If you want to keep it, which is what we push for, what I push for a lot of times, is buy and hold long-term, building up the equity. If you're doing rentals, cash flow, if you're doing some creative seller financing, you see my stuff about that. Even better, in my opinion, if you're able to find a really good opportunity, you think about how good it can be getting a good commission or assignment on that. Also looking at what you could get on maybe a resale after you renovate it. Wow, how much better if you can find an opportunity, keep it, get through the process, refinance, and then hold the property for 5 to 10 plus years. That, is how a lot of investors build their cash flow, build their portfolio and their wealth. And so, again, to my fellow real estate practitioners out there, just a few things I want to highlight for working with investors. Key part, of course, do they got the money, right? As you're building a relationship with them, if they're serious, they're going to tell you. They're going to say, hey, I got a line of credit. I have X amount in savings. I have a partner with whatever. Okay, cool. You may not always need to get, proof of funds at that particular point early on, but you got to vet them, right? Talk to them about the funding. Are they going to be able to perform? Okay, there's a lot of people want to do real estate. A lot of us didn't have any money. They're going to try to put you to work, right? So being more selective, okay, understanding the value that you bring to the table. Okay, once you find a good client, they've shown that they can perform, they're willing to go in with you, right? Or help you, you're going to help them find an opportunity, you're going to represent them. Okay, as realtors, especially now with the National Association of Realtors lawsuit that happened, getting your agreement together. It's not only advised like it had been for decades, it's now required. So getting to meet your investor, building a relationship, vetting them, getting to know them, getting your agreement in place. And then, even before that, you're gonna talk with them and get an idea of what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Do they want buy and hold long-term? Do they want quick turn, wholesale, fix and flip? Okay. And then, even before you get the agreement in, you sign, they sign. Before that even happens, as you're building your relationship, you got to decide based on their criteria, based on your market, your experience, is it realistic? Is it worth your time and energy to help them find whatever opportunity that they think they want, that they'll be able to find, right? Because can you find it? Sure. Most investors, look, they're going to want to do something creative, right? Where they can buy the property subject to the existing financing, or they want something where the seller will carry back the financing and they want to put little to no money down. You got to decide, like, if you're getting leads like that, if you're doing direct to seller marketing, maybe you're tapped in with some wholesalers and you're willing to go hit the pavement for that. Great. That's a huge thing that investors look for. The other thing, right, that a lot of investors look at is if they buy the property, they rehab it, they want to be all in at 70% of the ARV. Is that doable in your market? Yeah. How is it going to be finding that? Okay. And then are you going to do that one time with your client and call it good? And you just got to determine, like, those are the two big things, the creative financing and then getting houses for 40, 50 cents on the dollar, essentially, is what most investors want. So you as an agent or practitioner, realtor, however you have your thing set up, got to determine if you're going to spend time and energy and money finding those opportunities, dishing those off, okay? And then as you gain experience, you're going to see, like, hey, if I'm serious about investing, I may want to start keeping some of these on my own, again, which is why the funding and the financing is so key. All right. So that's even before you sign on the dotted line and get your buyer agency agreement together with said investor, is okay, based on their expectations, based on my market knowledge and experience, I think I can help this individual out. Okay. And then going from there, getting your agreement in place. And then you're going to be turning over stones from there, right? You're going to be needing the network, going to local meetups, on the phone, talking to other agents, building a list of wholesalers and deal finders. And you may even do your own direct to seller marketing campaigns, whether it's yellow letters, postcards, bandit signs, billboards, cold calling, getting the VA and doing the whole thing type of thing. You can set up a whole operation for that if you want. But again, like, at a certain point, you may, get weary of that and decide, like, all right, I'm not as interested in giving away these amazing opportunities, and I want to work with different types of investors, and I want to focus on whatever it is that you want to focus on, and you're going to figure out how you operate, again, whatever's happening in the market, your experience, what you're trying to accomplish, how much you want to pour into your enterprise and pour into your clients, help you determine how to move. All right. And so find an opportunity. Okay, you got a client, you vetted them, got a relationship, they have the means and the resources to get through the process. You got your buyer agency agreement, and then you're going to start finding opportunities, right? When it comes time to get an opportunity done, like, shoot, earnest money is huge. Like, the best investors that I've worked with over the last 10 years, they proposed it, a couple of them, and some of them I taught them into doing it, is we're putting up more than $500, more than $2,500, in some cases $5,000 or more earnest money, okay? That may even be non-refundable, depending on the relationship, again, what's going on in your market, the opportunity, okay, how you found it. You know, if you're working with wholesalers, sometimes that might even be required. And so there are challenges, there are obstacles. And, you know, a lot of times if an investor wants a really, really good opportunity with a decent spread or a really good spread on it, okay, in today's market. And again, this changes. What's going on today may very well be different 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. And so I could give you a blueprint for what worked really well this last quarter and last 12 months, but that was quite a bit different than what I was doing all of 2023. So shoot, me giving out free game don't bother me much. Like, go use it. I've paid thousands of dollars and learned from mentors and stuff like that. So I don't mind giving out the game. So copy, imitate, good luck to you type of thing. So you got to determine how you want to move and operate. Again, like as real estate pros, you know, if you're seasoned, you're serious, even if you're not that experienced and you're serious, you're paying your dues, you're learning about the market, you're building relationships. I'd encourage you to look more at how valuable that is as you're working with investors and being willing to walk away and say no if you don't think it's worth your while, right? If it's a challenging market and deals are coming and going real quick and you realize like, all right, it took me a lot of time, energy, and money to find this opportunity, you know, go ahead and start presenting joint venture partnerships. You find an opportunity, get your fee in there and own the property type of thing, right? And then in the future, as things evolve, you got to determine like, all right, if interest rates do go down and we end up with more inventory and we start to see more sellers that are more motivated, that sort of thing, okay, you might be able to loosen up a little bit then with how you operate with your investor buyers, okay? And so I don't want to get too carried away. I'll end up doing another video, maybe not the next video, but I may continue maybe doing a series of talking about working with investors in particular for real estate agents, because I think it's a growing topic. And, you know, part of what I want to do here is to educate, inspire, and collaborate, share my story. You know, I've worked with tons of investors over the years, and so keep me in mind. It's Upside Property Services. If you are an agent or a deal finder or practitioner and you want to learn more about how you can grow your enterprise or how you can invest in real estate, hit me up. If you are an investor and you see, you know, Kansas City as a great place, or you see some opportunities here that you want to explore, hit me up. If I can't help you out directly, I know a ton of real estate professionals who I can get you plugged in with here, and hopefully we can put something together. So thanks for your time. Have a good day. Bye.